Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm just gonna rest you guys right here. It is May 30th, and I know it's been a while since you guys have heard from me, whether on my okay, I don't like where this camera is. We're just gonna try putting it right. Okay. Yeah. So I know it's been a while since I've posted anything to my blog or to my channel really, but I've been kind of busy, so here's a brief review of what May was like. So, beginning of May, I finished practicum, I finished finals, and I also did some NCLEX prep that was sponsored through the school with Kaplan. That's the program that we use. I actually really like Kaplan. We pay for it as part of our tuition, so that's why we get it for free, but it's not really free. We've just paid for it for the past 4 years. But it's been really helpful for me personally because it's less content review and more strategy learning. So if you're in nursing school and you're thinking about signing up for one of the sessions, I would go with Kaplan personally. So that was the second week of May, and then it was senior week, I think. Yeah, the senior week, and also just like spending time with people and my boyfriend, and also just packing up and cleaning up and getting ready. And then the Sunday, May 13th, is when my grandfather passed away. So that was really hard for, obviously. But it also just kind of made my schedule a lot more hectic. I ended up having to fly down to New Jersey for the funeral, for the service, and then the next day my whole family and there's 6 of us, all of us drove up to Cleveland for my pinning ceremony. So literally Thursday afternoon was the funeral, and then Friday morning was the pinning ceremony. So it was pretty hectic. And then excuse me. And then Saturday was just like a day spent with my sisters and my boyfriend, and that was really fun, just going around Cleveland and then finally packing up the car and stuff. And Sunday was commencement, so that was my actual graduation. And then Monday morning, my sisters and my mom flew back to Boston, and my dad and I drove to New Jersey, where we were with my grandma for a few days just to help her pack and stuff and just spend some time with her. And then Thursday last week, so almost a week ago, I drove back to New Jersey with my dad, and I unpacked a little bit, and if you guys didn't know, my parents are actually moving out of this condo that we live in, and it's just gonna be me and 2 of my sisters living here, because they're moving with one of my sisters. It's complicated. Excuse me. But then I caught this lovely cold, which I am pretty sure is the flu, because it felt like flu from the winter that I had. Like I was achy. I was like, I couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. And now I have just a little more congestion in my chest and my sinuses. So it's not as bad as the winter where it lasted for like 2 weeks, but I get a little more winded. But yeah, the mucus is just clearing up now. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Kind of been studying for a couple days, but it was hard because I got sick and all that stuff. And then yesterday was my sister's prom, and this Sunday is her graduation and her graduation party. So yeah, things are moving pretty fast, as you can see. It's weird because people have been saying congratulations to me about graduating college, and to be honest, it doesn't feel like I've really accomplished anything, and I think I figured out why. It's because I still don't have a job lined up. That's right, I'm one of those few people who know exactly what they want to do and who have a professional degree and still don't have a job lined up. Now, I know that it's actually pretty common for people, new grad nurses who don't have their license yet, not to have a job. But the cohort and the school that I graduated from and with, pretty much everyone had a job offer, and most of it was local, but there are a lot of people who got job offers from like California and DC and all these places. So for me, it's been hard not to let that sort of take away from the accomplishment that is graduating with my BSN, because that is a big deal, but it just doesn't feel like a big deal. And I think it's because I still need to pass the NCLEX and I still need to find a job. And that's something I just kind of wanted to ramble about this morning. I always grew up in a pretty high achieving town, and I was surrounded by a lot of really high achieving peers who, a lot of them went to really great schools. A lot of them also went to really state school because it was a smart decision for them personally, and they excelled there as well. But I always felt like I was, not that I was mediocre, but that I was never high achieving. And in retrospect, I think I just never wanted something bad enough to really push myself so that I could be like the best sort of thing. Like, for example, I have a good GPA. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, but it's a good GPA. And not that GPA reflects anything about anybody, but I worked really hard for it, especially the latter half of nursing school. And so, but it wasn't good enough to get onto like the, to get honors when I was graduating, which is fine. Like, and if you don't know what honors are, it's when they, when you have a certain overall GPA, each graduating class will have a certain cutoff. And I want to say it's like 5 percentile and 10 percentile or something like that. So, I mean, obviously I didn't make the cutoff, which is, again, fine. But it's like that. I always did well, but I never did well to be recognized for anything, really. Like, I think the biggest achievement that I can think of in my entire life was this essay that I won an award for, because it was selected as the best essay in the history department. And I'm still really proud of that essay, actually. And that was sophomore year of high school. Okay, so it's been 6 years. But I think that's just, it's easy to fall into that trap of feeling like, well, I'm not very high achieving, or I'm not as good as the rest of my peers. First of all, that's BS. Like, you should never measure yourself against your peers in general, which is a trap that I always fall into. But I think for me, I've come to realize that my growth over the past 4 years and my introspection and my blogging and my reflection, those are all things I'm really proud of, because I've cultivated, so on my blog, I've cultivated a community of people who are loving, who are kind, and some of whom are also believers and who can encourage me, but who I can also encourage. And that's something I'm really proud of. I think that I have really been able to, and less so in the past year because I haven't blogged as much, but especially when I was going through my hardest times, I was really able to use my blog as a place to provide comfort, safety, and positivity for other people. And I don't know, like, I know some people on this website, on the website that I use, I've known them for the past 8 years, like almost 8 years, 6 years, I can't, whatever, junior year, 5 years, okay, 5 years. I've known them for the past 5 years, and I think that's something that's kind of astounding, is that I've maintained these friendships with these people, because we've all been through a lot of hard things together, and I value them and they value me. Another thing would be just my personal growth as a person. I think that I went through a lot, and I've dealt with a lot, and I've done a lot of good and bad things, and it's taken me a long time, but to get to the other side of it, and not to say that I'm done growing as an individual, but to get to the other side and look back and say, like, wow, like, God has really changed me by his grace and with such love. I'm just amazed by that too. So yeah, moral of the story is, Oh, also, I'm really proud of how I stick with running and working out and exercising, because I'm someone who has a history of, you know, using exercise as a form of, you know, control, and we don't have to go into it. But yeah, and I'm living this really healthy, happy life now that I never thought I could 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So yeah, this is all to say that if you are someone who just is average like me, who graduates with, you know, good grades, goes to a good school, but like never gets awards and stuff, like, first of all, it's okay. But second of all, the people who do get awards and who are high achieving, encourage them, because good for them, because they pushed really hard to get there. And I know there are always people who don't deserve it, blah, 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 but 99% of the people work their ass off to get there. So I've never been jealous of people either, you know, and I really applaud people for using all that extra time that they had, that I might have been working out, sleeping, I don't know, hanging out with friends, using that time to make a difference in their community and stuff like that. Like, that is worthy of praise as well. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird time for me right now. Again, it's that in between where pretty much everyone else, if they have a job, they just haven't started yet, or if they don't have a job, it's because they're going to grad school. So I'm in the little in between. But I will say, at least I know that I'm going to be a nurse, because I do have friends who have degrees who don't know what they want to do and therefore don't have a job yet. So, you know, grass is always greener on the other side, right? So anyway, that's just like a mini life update, rant, ramble. And I have officially finished my coffee now. But yeah. I hope you guys are all doing well. I didn't mean to make this video 12 minutes long. Yeah. But you know what's funny? I actually, real quick before I go, I actually found the first like vlogs that I posted, which was 3 years ago when I had just finished my freshman year of college. And I kind of cringe when I watch them, but I definitely still see that same person when I'm watching those videos. Like, even though I've changed a lot, like, I still see that same like inner person, or like my essence or whatever. I don't really know what the term would be for that, but maybe I'll link some of my old vlogs, because they kind of cracked me up and they kind of brought a lot of good memories for me. Because as you know, I have deleted and remade my blog 3 times now. The first time was freshman year of college. And that was when I had the biggest following, but like it was time. And also just like there was a lot going on at the time. And then the second time I just really felt like I was getting sucked into it. And now I have a much smaller following, but you know, they're the people that matter, right? Anyway, so I'm gonna go on a run. My first run, like longer run in over a week. Like really, my runs have been 1 mile, 2 miles. Because I have this beautiful thing called PMS cramping every time I work out right now. It sucks. It's been like a full week. And when I run a little too hard, I get like this, like the period like cramps. Let me know if any of you guys get them, because I only get them like the week before my period. And I read somewhere it has to do with the hormones. So yeah, anyway, I love you all, and I will see you guys on the interwebs.